Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 109-114 loss to the Miami Heat. Riker, we did see the return of the Raptors GOAT Kyle Lowry coming back in this game, but our hearts were really broken. Our hearts were broken by the video tribute and everything that happened at the start of this one, but the guy that really ripped out our hearts, or a couple of guys that really ripped out our hearts in this one, was Victor Oladipo and Max Strus. Who would have thought, Riker? None of the Raptors players, not the former guy. It was Max Strus and Victor Oladipo that ruined this game for us. What are your initial reactions to Kyle Lowry's return game?
I would have thought, Ben, the Raptors don't lose against top players. They lose against the scrubs or the sixth man or the eighth man or the bench players. When we lose against Boston, we lose against Grant Williams shooting corner threes. When we lose against Philadelphia, we lose against, Tobias Harris, who puts together his only good game of the season, right? It's always that fifth option guy that ends up just beating the Raptors, which in one part, it's a testament to our ability to lock down big players, but in the other part, it's disappointing. You want to lose to Miami against Lowry. He had himself an all right game, not an amazing game. I wanted to see us lose at the grips of Lowry, at the buzzer, with a three, if that's how we were going to go down. And we had no business losing this one, Ben. We dominated in the first half. Miami had more turnovers, more personal fouls. They basically did nothing right against the Raptors, except for they shot 47% from beyond the arc from those two guys that you mentioned. Tough to lose games like that.
Yeah, definitely brutal. We're going to harp on just what happened in this one. If we're worried about the Heat, just everything that went on in this. And I want to say it starting off. And actually, there's a couple things I got to start off. And one is a little meme. Anyone that rocks number 31, automatic bucket. You just got to clamp them up. Terrence Ross rocks number 31. Max Strus rocks number 31. Ben Rogers rocks number 31. 3 elite shooters. So 3 elite guys with that number. 31 days in a month. All day shooting from guys like that. Victor Oladipo had his return game. But I also want to plug. I've been plugging at the end of the podcast and stuff. But if you're interested in joining the Digest Media team, particularly with doing some interesting stuff. If you're interested in the Blue Jays, interested in a specific sports team, reach out to us. RaptorsDigest@gmail.com. Definitely got to start plugging that at the start because we're looking for people, especially Jays fans, to get a few things spun up, Riker. But the first thing that we have to dive into, the first thing that we have to talk about is Kyle Lowry's return game because we saw some fun between Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, OG, even though he was injured, Chris Boucher, all the guys that Kyle Lowry played with in seasons past. But how did it feel to see Kyle Lowry back in Toronto? Did the Raptors handle the video tribute right? Because win or loss, this was going to be the most important storyline going into this one tonight.
Yeah, it's fantastic how he delayed his return to Toronto so that there was full capacity, no real restrictions, good video tribute with his kids who are legends in their own right. The fans gave him the right amount of support. There was no booing. First couple times he touched the ball in the matchup as well. Then there was nothing but applause in the stands. And, Ben, it was a special night because Fred VanVleet tied, then broke his record for threes in a season. Pascal and Lowry were going at it. It's a weird matchup, but we know from 9 seasons of having Lowry on the team that he's down to guard anybody, any position. So it was a lot of fun. More fun in the first half when things were going our way. Again, if we were going to lose, I wanted to see it at the hands of Lowry at, say, a buzzer-beating 3, not with him having a, good double-double, but really, again, it was at the hands of Strus. So all things Lowry-related, loved it tonight. Raptors GOAT, arguably the GOAT. He's one of the only people to have ever won an NBA championship in Canada. Nobody can take that away from him.
Yep, without a doubt. The legend, the GOAT. And honestly, even this is the one loss I'll throw the balloons on for. Just in honor of Kyle Lowry. The legend. Gotta praise this man. Absolute GOAT, without a doubt. I don't know if it was a Photoshop statue or if it was a real statue that people were bringing around Toronto early in this one. I don't know if you saw that on TSN, Riker,
no.
But that was people were saying it's legit. I was sure that it was Photoshop getting thrown around, but Lowry deserves the statue, deserves the jersey retirement, deserves it all. Hopefully he comes back. Be nice to have Lowry coming off the bench. But you brought up Fred VanVleet in this one, setting records, most 3-pointers made in a season, surpassing. Is it most 3-pointers made in a season or career?
No, most made in a single season for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, that's I kind of missed over the stat. People were just hyping it up. I was hoping he was past Kyle Lowry right in his face and then give him a little love tap or something there. But Fred VanVleet, started off this game absolutely on fire. 29 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 steals in this one. And honestly, our 3 stars played absolutely tremendous in this game. Siakam, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Scotty Barnes, 19 points at 4 stars. 4 stars.
Well, I'm going to go at you on that Scotty Barnes take. I'll let you finish your thought, but I think Scotty Barnes was part of the reason we lost this one. So you continue on.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the end of this game in a little segment. We'll definitely get the debates going, because I do have some things to say, especially at the end of this one as well. But you brought up Scotty Barnes. The star boy also, I thought, played well down the stretch. Struggled a little bit at the start, 19 points. But Scotty Barnes himself also had 19, 7, 2, and 2. But, Ryker, I think it's time to get the little drum roll going, because, you know, you brought up Scotty Barnes. There's an award named after him that we have to give out. And you're going to trash on him about the end of the game, it seems like, from what you mentioned. But, Ryker, tonight, the Scotty Barnes Award. As people know, the criteria is fluid for this award. It's fluid. It's going to the guy. We're bringing up the Raptors' GOAT. We're bringing up potentially, well, you say Gary Trent Jr. is the Raptors' GOAT, or future GOAT or whatever. Scotty Barnes could surpass that. But there was a moment tonight, and everyone knows that's watched our podcast, has watched the Toronto Raptors over the past however long, 10 decade with Kyle Lowry on the team. No one scores in the post over Kyle Lowry. No one. 0. Zip. Scotty Barnes, first ever attempt in the post against Kyle Lowry, even with his, shorter stature, probably the best post defender in NBA history, just in terms of percentages. If you get into the advanced statistics, Scotty Barnes scores immediately in the block over Kyle Lowry, and that's just a W in itself. That's a win in itself. That should get us a win in the record column. So that's why he's getting the Scotty Barnes Award from me. But should we just break down the end of this game, because I feel like you have some things to say about how this closed out?
Let's break down the end of the game, Ben.
Let's do it. Sound off, Ryker. Sound off.
Oh, you're throwing it back to me,
I'm
Ben.
throwing it at you. I'm throwing it at you.
It's what do you want to call it? A complisalt? A crita compliment? It's part compliment, part criticism. It's that I didn't like Scotty Barnes shooting threes down the stretch in the fourth. And not because he's not a good three-point shooter, which he's not an amazing three-point shooter, but because he's our best offensive rebounder. Maybe not in terms of stats, but definitely in terms of having the right positioning, getting his hand on the ball, causing a lot of tip-ins. So when you have him out there beyond the arc, shooting threes, which always have those long offensive rebounds, only guy down the low block was Thad Young or Chris Boucher. They just weren't gobbling up the same way, and it led to a lot of transition opportunities. And then the Struces, the Heroes, the Oladipos, all of those guys were making us pay on the other end. So it's a compliment to Scotty Barnes that he's our rebounding guy. He's been so successful with the putbacks. That's what gets him going. We need him inside, not outside, because we could have really used some offensive rebounding late in this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Miami Heat, and it's something we saw plague Pascal Siakam year in, year out against teams like the Miami Heat. Likes to, be tentative. The aggression's there, and Scotty Barnes is not one to shy away from aggressive defense or anything like that. I think it was more so, in the past we've seen players not want to go in against the aggression, but they were just kind of leaving Scotty Barnes open. I don't mind him taking those shots, and 3 for 9 is not horrible efficiency, but when the game matters, and there were some moments, as you mentioned, Ryker, where Scotty Barnes had some lanes. He had some opportunities to just finish down low, finish in the paint, especially down the stretch, like some fast breaks where it was just either Hero or Lowry down there in the paint. You got to take advantage of those, and rather than looking for the kickouts, rather than avoiding your cuts and staying outside the 3-point line. I know you knocked down a few shots, but your game is around the basket. Where you're really elite, where you really get your stuff going. So I would agree there.
And everybody is terrified once you're barreling towards the basket and you see Kyle Lowry anywhere around the paint, because obviously league leader for the longest time in charges drawn. But if he's playing down the low block, challenging Bam Adebayo at the rim, or making him drawing fouls against Bam Adebayo, there's no real defensive pressure at that point. It'd be pretty easy to score whichever way you want. So that's what I wanted more of, Ben.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. And I agree. I don't think it lost us the game, but definitely could have helped us out. And you brought up the two guys, and we'll break them down to the segments. But Depot and Strus absolutely destroyed us with some wild threes, some wild threes that really got under our skin. But we kind of did an overview of the starting guys. And this is one reason I'm not discouraged by this game by any means, because the question marks really are, can our core group, because the rotations get tightened, the schemes get drawn up, they get a little bit tighter, but can your core guys score against a Miami Heat team, against the elite defenses? And we saw our top 4 players starting to come back into form, right? Starting Trent, Fred VanVleet, been dealing with injuries. We're seeing them start to play well, which is a huge positive, especially Pascal Siakam again. I'll say his stats again: 29 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He had zero fear going in there against Bam, going in there against Lowry, setting charges. He drew a couple fouls on Kyle Lowry down there in the paint. He knows the tricks. That is huge to see Pascal Siakam playing that elite as we inch closer to the playoffs. He's peaking at the exact right moment, Ryker.
Yes, and we were missing one of our top two-way players, an OG, but they're missing 2 of their top defensive players in Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker. So it's only going to get harder the next time you potentially face Miami. That was my one concern with this game, was you have 2 of their starters out, 2 of their defensive guys. PJ Tucker is their stopper, right? He's the guy that'd be matching up against the Durants, the Giannis's, the Siakams, right? And that's what you're saying, that this is a game where Siakam really should, although he has historically played pretty poorly against Bam Adebayo, right? We do need to see even more production from them if we play in the playoffs, Ben. So this, I'm going to swing it back to you with a question before we go into the segments is, has your mind changed? Would you still not want to face Miami? You said merely because of injuries and the way that they play, that's not the ideal matchup, just because we don't want any of our guys to get hurt. It's too chippy. Do you think the same thing, or has your opinion changed after watching tonight's matchup?
The reason I don't want to play the Heat is because I don't want our players injured. That's the reason. And regardless if they have a bunch of G League scrubs or if they have an all big 3 of the Heatles, right? I'm going to have those fears. So that's the sole reason I don't want to play the Heat, and I don't have as much spite against their organization to want to beat them. I want the Celtics. Bring them on, knock them out first round, take out those scrubs. But there's one thing that we probably should worry about, and I guess we'll leave it to the segments before we sort of talk about the bench guys. Yeah, let's leave that to the segments and dive straight into the spicy Pillay of the day. And there's a few that it could go to especially in the first half. Fred VanVleet hitting some electrifying 3-pointers in the first quarter, looking like Kyle Lowry in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, looking like in the first half, obviously, and then Fred VanVleet became electric in the second half of that game. But that step back that he hit, was on Caleb Martin, I believe, where the between the legs, the step back to set the record, that was electrifying, their record.
Yeah, play that jumps out to me. Also, first half, Fred VanVleet, he hit kind of a double clutch layup over none other than Lowry and had a big smile at him, sort of a gotcha play. That one, not a big highlight play by any means, but just to see the 2 point guards, Lowry, VanVleet, facing against each other on the court, those are fun moments.
Yep. And Lowry doing the classic Roy Hibbert verticality play on defense. That's one thing I miss immensely about Kyle Lowry being on the Miami Heat, not seeing him night in, night out. Roy Hibbert, one of my favorite players of all time. Kyle Lowry, probably my favorite player of all time, emulating the GOAT. So you love to see that. People are not agreeing with my Celtics take. I want the smoke. Give me the Celtics.
I'm not agreeing. I want to get out of the first round. So
I want to sweep the Celtics. Easy money. But not all plays be the spicy Pillay of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, there's a few OGs plays in this game, but it's without a doubt, we talked to death about Strus, number 31, the Splash Master, and then Victor Oladipo randomly coming back, looking like Victor Oladipo.
Is this his first game back, or has he played
He's played like 6 games, but this is the game he's been back. Apparently, he hasn't really gotten that many minutes. I looked into it going into tonight, averaging like 6 points per game, not having that much of an impact. I peeped Heat Reddit, and they said they're excited to see him on the court tonight. So he's looking good there, but the one specific moment was there's the 3-point line, there's Steph Curry range, and then there's the 3-pointer that Victor Oladipo took in this game that was contested from about 7 feet beyond the 3-point line, it felt like, from the eye test. Splashed that down, which really just took this game, I believe, from a 1-possession game to a 2-possession game. Real annoying. Strus and him were just hitting threes left, right, and center. And not much you can do, Riker, in the second half when you got guys just going nuclear from the three-point line.
No, and my play, see my eyes going back and forth here between the UConn women's NCAA championship game, and I was watching the Raptors as well when they were on. I thought the game was sort of over. And then, of course, Scotty Barnes makes the play to Boucher down low. We get that steal. Fred Van Vliet, perfect opportunity, a little bit of a side challenge, but I don't think it blocked Van Vliet's view in any way. That's, to me, the OGs, because had you hit that shot, 1-point game, could have been overtime. That's the kind of thing you want from, again, this exciting game for Kyle Lowry's return to Toronto, but wasn't written in the stars, wasn't in the cards tonight. Still a fun game nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a fun game. And one take before we swing into the Golden Kazoo. Riker, should we have just, and this is another thing about Scotty Barnes too. Got the rebound, got the steal when Tyler Hero just yeeted it at the rim for no reason down the stretch of the game. Scotty Barnes catches it right underneath the rim. I know Kyle Lowry's an intimidating presence down there, but couldn't he just have turned around? I know a three would have just taken the roof off of the Scotiabank Arena, but he saw Fred. Could have been a poetic moment or whatever, but couldn't he just turn around and took like a 2-foot post layup, right, to put it within two? Wouldn't that have been the smart play?
When you say it that way, that's a very valid take. That is very valid.
I don't know.
Listen, it won't be long there's not going to be many more times in Scotty Barnes' career that you're going to have to ask him to shoot down the stretch. We see the trajectory of this guy. He's going to be hungry to have the ball in his hands down the stretch, taking those shots. So, don't get used to saying those kind of things. Yeah,
he's just being respectful of the Fred Van Vliet, the Kyle Lowry storyline. He doesn't know Kyle too well. Obviously, they've talked about each other in post-game pressers or post-draft, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Raptors, we were on a 5-game win streak. We've been killing it as of late. You give one to the Raptors, Grote, out of respect, out of, prominence, and say, you know what, we're catching you in the second round of the playoffs because we're sweeping Boston in the first round. That's what's happening. But, Riker, the infamous, the one, the only, Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the evening, and people were harping on him in the chat early in this one. The Toronto Raptors bench absolutely demolished by the Miami Heat's bench in this game. Thaddeus Young, Thaddeus Young, I thought had some good hustle plays, but obviously only took 2 shots, 2 points, had 7 rebounds. I'm not going to trash on Thad's game. Thought Boucher could have hit a couple more threes. We need a bit more of a scoring punch for Boucher. 3 of 10 from the field, 8 points. Precious is the guy that really disappointed tonight. He really struggled in his first outing against the Miami Heat. No propaganda to be played tonight. Definitely wasn't better than Bam. He's still the next Giannis, but wasn't better than Bam in this one. And then got 5 minutes out of Marnie Brooks. There was rumors Malachi Flynn might return in this one. It was questionable for this game, but unfortunately got a tune-up game in the G League and scored, I think, like 2 points in that. So we need that one more piece off the bench, or at least one more score. And it's are you worried
That's
about
certainly
the bench?
What makes Miami dangerous, Ben,
Yeah.
is that they have good depth, a good starting lineup of veterans that play defense, one of the top defenses in the NBA. But not only that, they have 2 scorers now in Hero and Oladipo off the bench, whereas we want to find scoring, and it's very inconsistent from Boucher and Achua. Achua's the guy. That's the piece. Boucher, at this point, you can't really ask too much from him because of how inconsistent he is, and his gameplay is really weird. But Achua's got to come out in these type games, bang bodies down low. I guess that's more of a hockey term, but just be aggressive, right?
Big
Try to
hockey
do some
guy,
stuff off the dribble. Big hockey guy here. Big hockey guy. I know all of the lingo, but we've seen the evolution of Achua from the first half to the second half of this season. He's been playing really good. And so hopefully we get the good version of him in the playoffs because we really need him. We can't have 10 or 20 points scored total off the bench like tonight.
Yeah. And speaking of the bench, and I'm basically going to lump him in there with the bench. I see the chat throwing the flames out. They're getting the roasts going. But we had a goose egg from Mr. Kem Birch. 0 of 2 from the field, 13 minutes. Just hasn't looked that right. He's had his moments, but hasn't looked that right since coming back from injuries. Kem Birch is playing at this level, Riker. At this, not looking too hot, not playing the greatest defense. 3 fouls in 13 minutes. will he be in our playoff rotation? Like, what's going to happen with him right there?
Yeah, he'll probably be in the playoff rotation. I don't see us. I think we're going to have foul trouble from our bigs. So I think he'll be part of that just by de facto foul trouble, Boucher, Achua. But he's going to be the last guy.
You talk about our 8-man rotation or 7-man rotation come playoff.
Quick pause. South Carolina just won the NCAA Women's Championship.
North Carolina.
No real surprise there. Yeah, not UConn. They just defeated UConn 64-49. That's, they played good. They have this one girl, Leah Boston. She's 6'5", absolute beast. Continue on with what you were saying. What were we talking about?
Kem Birch playing, but shout out. I was cheering for UConn. I wanted your intramural teammate Ryker to kill it.
And Aaliyah Edwards. But they're the future, Ben. They're only first years, both of them, I think.
Really?
So.
No, Paige has been. She was injured last year. She played in the tournament last year.
Oh, did she? Okay, so they're both second years.
Yeah. So, they're a squad. They're a squad. I think they made some deep playoff runs. Shout out to North Carolina though. I was mad. I was cheering for South Carolina.
The Gamecocks. The weird name.
That's pretty wild. But it is what it is. Your intramural teammates. You're gonna have to show a couple of the moves, Ryker, on the pods to get
I didn't
them
realize
to that
she was
championship.
6'3", Ben. She's a power forward. She's got 5-6 inches on me, so I got very little hope in beating her in one-on-one now.
Get that work down the block. Show off those moves. But yeah, we were talking about Kem Birch. But the point I want to bring up, Ryker, obviously OG Anunoby will be back. I'm gonna keep it real. I know he didn't have the greatest stat line. I like Boucher off the bench. I like Precious off the bench, given that just unpredictability, that bundle of chaos we can throw at a team in the playoffs. But I want to see Chadius Young starting. I think he would fit perfectly with the starting group, being able to facilitate, throw some passes with people. And then Kem Birch, as you said, could be insurance. And then, we'll have OG back, right? We'll have OG, I guess OG will be in the starting lineup instead of Kem Birch. We'll run that lineup. But more Thad Young with the starters. Kem Birch in the deep sort of rotation. Boucher, Precious Achua as your unpredictable players. And then one of Armani Brooks, Malachi Flynn, someone to give very limited minutes, limited rest to Starboy and Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, you're giving probably Armani Brooks the minutes just because in practice, supposedly he can shoot pretty well. And then he's a bit more defensive oriented than probably what Malachi Flynn could give you. Not trying to hate on Malachi Flynn too much, but Ben, interestingly enough, once OG comes back, we don't really need to start any of those guys that you mentioned, Thad, Chua, any of them. So I wonder if it makes sense to slip somebody like Gary Trent Jr. to the bench. That hasn't been his role. I'd hate to see it now. Only 4 games left in the season, or Scotty or something. It's not going to happen, Ben, but we do need a little bit of a scoring punch. Let's just get wild and bring it right into the final alarm. Talk about our thoughts.
La
4 games
final
left.
alarm.
Yes, sir.
Woo, 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 woo. That's right, the final alarm has sounded. We want to hear what you guys have to say about this game. Your thoughts? Currently, the thoughts in the chat are now. And also, get a little like spike going. A little like spike for the boys. 130 viewers in this chat. 25 likes. Let's get that to 130 likes. Let's make it happen, folks. But people are roasting OG, saying he's soft. Guys, there's no point in... OG has been hobbled all season. He took a brutal hit yesterday. Those bruises, for anyone that's... I know the bruise, everyone's like, oh, bruise. What are you sitting out for a bruise for? If you've taken a proper hit, I'm sure you have, Ryker. Those bruises, if you don't sort of chill off it a little bit for a couple days, they can kind of persist and be annoying. So, I don't know. Then you're limping.
I'm not going to agree with that, but I will say that if there's any slight soreness or anything, and then you're going up in the regular season where it matters, but it doesn't really matter against the Miami Heat of all teams, probably better because, like you said at the beginning, you're almost never getting out of a Miami Heat matchup unscathed, at worst, completely riddled with injuries. So better to keep him on the bench, save him for the playoffs.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, you're sore and all that, you aggravate something else because you're probably limping with a bruise. So you got to proper warm up. Like one of those proper bone bruises where you get hit properly. I don't know. I've had some bad ones. But yeah, let's see what's happening. Kid Tut saying get those likes up. I can't read right now. Who's guarding Giannis in the playoffs? Hopefully the Raptors, because I want the Bucks as well. Even though I want the Celtics smoke, I would love to play the Bucks. Love to play those Bucks.
It's a team effort when you're guarding Giannis. Everybody is the same height on this team. So whoever it's next man up, we're just going to be doing what I'd imagine a lot of switching out at the perimeter and then very deep help defense, which should be a little bit easier to beat the Bucks this season with what's his name? Their center, Brooks.
Brook Lopez?
Oh man, Brook Lopez. Brooks. I thought that was his last name. I'm thinking Armani Brooks. Brook Lopez.
Brooks.
He hasn't been the lethal sniper that he was 2-3 seasons ago. So I think it's a little bit of an easier time playing against Milwaukee in a playoff series if that's who we end up facing, Ben.
Splash Mountain. They do have Drew Holiday though, which is complete game changer for that team. GSX has been roasting OG in the chat, saying he's not coming back. He's in Street Close 2.0. I will not take this OG Anunoby slander. I'm not taking it. He's our guy. He's our GOAT. But the true Raptors GOAT. Mike is saying Achua's trash. Man, we got people are all over the place in losses, guys.
Some
Precious
real negative Nancy's, eh?
Yeah, some negative Nancy's, folks. Precious has been shooting like 40+% from three. Been elite. Was bad tonight for sure, but he's a beast, guys. He's a beast. Stop hating. But you expect the Lakers to win every year. That's what Alan's saying. I don't know who he's talking to, but I know he's talking to you, Ryker, because you're a big Lakers fan.
I specifically expect the Lakers to lose every year, and I'm delighted at the thought they're probably going to miss the playoffs. So, next question.
They're coming in, Ryker. They're making a run from the 11th seed, the first 10th seed to ever win a championship.
The first 10th seed. Wouldn't that be something special? I'd be on board for a 10th seed to like. That's just a storyline you'd have to.
If they start playing well, I'll hop on the bandwagon. I'm not a Lakers hater. I'm not a diehard Lakers fan, but it's I usually end up cheering for him in the finals. I usually end up rooting for the East team, but or LeBron. Sorry, not the Lakers. But it is what it is. Mickey Mouse championship. That's what Phil B is saying. Birch guarding Giannis. We want Birch on the wing, stopping Giannis there. Can't do much with Miami shooting. Hats off to Miami. Very, very true. Jimmy J saying he likes OG Anunoby. We all gotta love OG Anunoby. But Mike is saying he's shooting 43% on field goals on the year as a center. That's horrible. You gotta look at the shots he's taking though. He's not really playing center. He guards centers, but he's out there on the wing trying to cross some people up, doing some spins and all that. He's not your DeAndre Jordan-esque sketching lobs and all that. He's taking contested pull-ups, some fadeaways, all that. So you can't take that into account, Ryker.
No, definitely not. I've done something to my screen. I can't open our Zoom link, but I hear the audio coming through nonetheless. I'm just gonna stare at this little light here and hope that I'm speaking into the camera. Ben, do we have much more to talk about on this one, Ben? We're unfortunate loss.
Yeah.
Can't be too upset about this. Lowry's return, I think they did it right. It was a special moment. I hope the next time, well, I'll probably wait till he retires, we'll have the statue unveiling, a proper statue, not a CGI one. What do you have to say?
There's a couple things I do want to bring up. There's one chat from Zane saying, do you think LeBron leaves the Lakers after his contract? Think he's going back? Think he's leaving?
Couldn't care.
Couldn't care? Okay. I think he's going to play with this kid. But the big thing, because every time DeMar's come to the Raptors Stadium, we've given him a little video tribute. A little shout out. As you would, right? Love it. And I guess this question applies to DeMar as well. But we probably won't play them in the playoffs. Do we give Kyle Lowry another video tribute, in a game 3 of an NBA playoff matchup?
No, definitely not. No video tributes in the playoffs. If we play him, he's our enemy.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. It could just really mess him up, though. Like mid-game.
Didn't mess him up tonight. 16 and 10, 50%
But we
from
did
the
it before
field.
the game. We did it respectfully, before the game. I'm saying during a timeout, you catch him off guard one timeout.
Catch him off guard.
Lowry's not going to be like Serge Ibaka and not look up
We
at it.
do it every time Miami calls a timeout in the playoffs.
Every dead ball, there's Kyle Lowry getting some shots. Some little kids around Toronto, so Kyle Lowry just looks like a complete loser if he's not watching it, right? Get some Toronto youth out there loving it across Canada, right? Distract them the entire time. Could be some 4D chess out there. They need to get me in the production booth. We got bots in the chat right now, Riker. That's what's happened. I don't know. I think it's time to sign this one off. As mentioned at the start of this podcast, if you're interested in joining the squad, let us know. Shoot us an email. Shoot us a DM. Shoot us wherever you can rock out. But check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter. Riker posted a TikTok today. First one since the trade deadline. So that's popping back as we enter playoff season time. So that's some exciting stuff. Check out the channel memberships as well. Definitely some fun stuff happening with there. Also, we didn't get our video. I realized today we didn't get our video from Alex, who did the hoodie giveaway. He said he was going to do it. When he sent us emails, like, oh, I'm busy this week, I'll send it next week or something like that. Followed up with him, didn't get a response back. So I might just have to post the emails to prove to the fans that we did follow through on our giveaway. But make that video if you're out watching, Alex, because Joshy Ice's hoodie looks exactly like the giveaway hoodie. So people I've seen have been saying, oh, did Josh steal that giveaway hoodie that y'all were plugging for 2 months? He did not. Just wanted to throw that out there. Also, we also forgot the fantasy league. We got to figure out those prizes. I've been out with the COVIDinos for the past week and a half. We've not been organized on that front, Riker. You're in school and work's been crazy through March, but we're going to figure that out. I want to pat myself on the back. Got a W in the fantasy league with the last pick. But we got to give shout outs to OG Steady Freddy. Got to give shout outs to I forget the team names. Nick, all the guys, Aaron, who all the guys that played well, everyone that joined. We love the fantasy stuff. Hope I gave you Paul Blunt saying welcome to Hoodie Gate. Yeah, we gotta give the people the proof. I've ranted long enough, Riker. We're figuring all that stuff out. Do you have any last words on this game?
Sappy one, soapy, romantic. Seize the moments of happiness, love, and be loved. That's it, Ben. Cheers.